is really weird. So it's my last day in my studio apartment, and well, last night, I guess. And it's crazy to me because number one, this place hasn't been this clean in 3.5 years. But in terms of me living here, so much has changed in the time that I have lived in this small apartment. And just want to make a vlog to, I guess, remember it by and talk about it a little bit before I leave. So I moved here in 2020, and must have been like September, October, somewhere in there. And I've been living here for 3.5 years. And when I started living here, I had just gotten my first job working with kids at our local YMCA. I didn't really know what I was doing, especially with working with kids. I had volunteered and done some summer camp type things, but I had no idea like what I was going to do as a career or what I was going to do with myself overall. Fast forward, and I lost that job in March of 2021 because we kind of stepped away from the COVID precautions and our kids all got sent back to school, which means our program got defunded because it was a emergency-based program for COVID-19. And so I was unemployed for about 6 weeks, and when I found my next job, I was really unsure of the direction I wanted to take my career in. And my next job was at a childcare center, and I worked there for about 6 months, I think, and a little more than that. It was all right. I really liked my kids. I liked my teacher a lot. And the first time I worked there, it seemed like I made connections with my kids and kind of got my feet under me. And when that class that I started with went through, actually, no, I worked there for 1.5 years. I'm messing with my timelines because I'm struggling a little bit to remember how it all went down. But we got like a new class, and they were fun, and I kind of gelled with this class full of preschoolers and worked there through when that class graduated. And when the next group came in, we had some real struggles with behaviors, and there was a kid who was like throwing chairs and screaming. It was way too much for me. And so I left, and I went to a pizza place, and I worked there for about 6 months or so. I actually was there before that restaurant opened. And so I like helped put the kitchen together. I washed all the dishes for the first time, got all the tags off everything, and was there to open this place, which was really, really cool. And everybody I worked with there was really cool, and that was a really fun job. Unfortunately, when we hit the new year, I started getting my hours cut because not as many people were coming in for pizza because everyone has their New Year's resolutions. And so I had to make the choice to leave that job and actually went back for a while to the same childcare center. And I went back there in, I want to say like March, and worked there through kind of the summer and up through into the next spring. And what happened at that job was that I started back there making $13.50 an hour, which was okay. Doing a similar job to what I had been doing in the first place, and I also began work there as a music teacher, and I got a raise to $15 an hour, but I was essentially doing two jobs. I was writing all my own lessons from scratch for music. I was still doing my work as a teacher's assistant, and again, I loved my kids. I loved a lot of the things about what I got to do, but it got to be really, really stressful. And at several points, I was essentially accused of, are you really doing, you're given the most prep time in the building, what are you doing with it? And I was like, I'm writing lessons from scratch, which I am sending to the appropriate people as I'm doing them, and I'm also doing TA work. And when I started kind of questioning some things about the way that things were being communicated and feeling like there was just too much going on, I was essentially told, shut up and do your job, stay in your lane. And so I, at that point, really knew it was time to start looking around for something where, for the work that I was going to be doing and for what I was looking for, I could maybe find something that was more in line with how I work and maybe that I would be able to get paid more as well. And fortunately, I found that. A little bit more than a year ago, I started at our local Boys and Girls Club, and it's been a really up and down job in some ways, but I feel like for the way that I work, I've been able to do some things with music. I've been able to support a lot of kids through a lot of really, tough situations, and all of that while living in this really small apartment. And fast forward to now, I've been there for over a year, and I'm hoping to increase my involvement there in the very near future. We'll see. And not only did all of that happen with like finding a career, so there's part one. I found something I really like to do, which is working with kids, and I appreciate that a lot. The second really big thing is I met a girl, online dating at the time. During COVID, it was insane, and we met on a really cold and windy night in like January or February, and we were gonna go for this walk downtown, and she ended up coming up into my apartment because it was bitterly, bitterly cold with like 60, 70 mile an hour winds, and we were like, let's not go walking around. I don't want to be presumptuous, but you should come in so that it's not so cold. And we had our coffee and we talked for like 3 hours, and so kicked off a relationship that I'm really happy to still have, despite some really big ups and downs for us, and some of that was my doing, and I'll talk about that down the road. But I feel like I've grown as a person to a big degree, and a lot of that is thanks to her. And this past February, we got engaged, which is something that I thought was going to be maybe a lot longer into my future, but I really appreciate her, and I'm really excited to start a life with her. And that came kind of on the tail end of living here. And then in March of this year, I went to the Great Cut and donated 14 inches of hair for children with hair loss, which was definitely a highlight experience for me. My fiance went with me on that trip as well. And to be able to do that and kind of have such a great experience out there, we are talking about, not now and not soon, but maybe moving out there way down the road. I loved California. There was so much more accessibility. The weather was beautiful. And there are lots of things we need to do here before we make that happen. But again, living in a small space like this has just been really good for me. I think I live better in a small space, and I'll turn the camera around and we'll do a little walk around in a minute. And there's not much to see, but that's okay. But yeah, I think, between finding a career and finding a relationship and the person that I want to spend the rest of my life with, all while staying at an apartment that was incredibly well managed, the manager was just really good about communicating things and helping if I ever needed anything, to the degree that she would occasionally put my mail outside of my door, because I can't see, so I never wanted to get somebody's mail that I shouldn't have. And so that was really helpful. If I had questions, she was so quick to answer. So it was just really good. And because I was a really long-term leaser, I paid a little bit less in rent than some others who are coming in because I was renting really long-term, and she could have raised that at any time and only did so just this last month, just a little. And other than that, I was at the same rent that I leased at when I started living here, which enabled me to save up enough money that now we're going to be moving into a house, complications notwithstanding there. But I would not have been able to do that nearly as readily, or probably at all, without the support and this apartment specifically just being a really nice place to live. So there's a few things around that are still out in prep for the move, but I wanted to kind of bonk around and just take a look one more time before I hit the road. So I'm gonna flip the camera around real quick. Welcome in. It's like I said, it's small. There's things that are still out here and there, but I had just my desk. I had my PS5 over there, so that's where I did all my baseball videos, and my closet up here for storing stuff. It's so weird that it's all empty. It's all echoey everywhere. A small bathroom over here, and a small fridge and a microwave, and these two shelves above that I put plants on and things like that. And then my bed, a little window with a little air conditioning unit there. and then these kind of chest of drawers that I used for all of my clothes and things like that, which are now ready to have someone new take over, passing the baton, if you will. Gotta be out of here tomorrow at noon, but it was just a really nice place to get the chance to live. And like I said, I think I live better out of a small space because it forces me to stay a little bit more organized. You can see me filming in the mirror, but yeah, there it is. Pretty cool stuff. I'll flip one more time and we'll close it out. I don't know, I'll be 100% honest. I'm a little bit sad. I've changed a lot since I moved here. I lived with my sister for a little while when I moved here, and when I left living with her, I wasn't really sure what was next and how I was going to make things work and what I was going to do with myself. I was kind of applying to anything that would work on Indeed, and wasn't really sure what was going to come of really anything at all. And since then, having found a career and a fiance and hopefully a life here, that wouldn't have been possible without this apartment. So on to what's next. It might be a little while before I kind of do any kind of vlog update. We have a lot of things still ahead of us, a very uphill battle. I'm very tired, but I think that closing out this chapter was appropriate. So thank you for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope you'll join me for whatever's next for me and for this channel. Hopefully big things to come a little bit down the road here. So again, appreciate you. If you have any questions or comments about anything, please let me know, and we'll see you soon. Peace.